Ladies and gents, Guru Nation, Jason potentially came here and gave us the secret weapon that we've been so desiring, SelectIQ. And full disclosure, I'm an advisor. But the reason I'm an advisor, and we did a full podcast with him, you'll see it later. It's getting professionally edited, not like this one on a GoPro in the car. Which you'll see this one first, but Jason works at, or co-founded SelectIQ. He'll be at SOS too. So it's AI, you put in your practice's EMR. So in our case, it was eClinicalWorks. In our other physician's practice here, it's the same. They use eClinicalWorks also. And then we'll try this with our dermatologist later, and maybe the cardiologist too, once we get him up and running. But dude, it was like, I mean, you spent maybe 10 minutes doing it. Yeah. And that was it.
Shout out to eClinicalWorks, making it easy.
Really? Shout out to them?
Yeah.
They're worthy of a shout out? Were they like easy to use compared to others?
Yeah, actually, there's pretty good range. We rely on, all these EHRs are basically required to have some way for us to do this. And some of them are nicer about it and make it easier. And some of them are like, we're going to make it as hard as possible. And eClinicalWorks is pretty good. I would say they have a pretty solid documentation on how to do it. Had to figure out a couple of things logging into the EMR for the first time, but yeah, we're all set up and good to go now.
That was your first time in eClinicalWorks?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a stud, man. I know why you worked at Palantir, man. You know your ways around these websites.
Oh, thank you.
You'd make a good coordinator too.
Oh,
there's like 15 portals per study.
I mean, I had to pick some side work up too, just learn the industry a little more.
Get a side hustle, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have been learning the site struggle. You get to talk to the CRCs again today.
Yeah.
The AI, we should find out if it works. I mean, it works instantly, but there's some things you guys have to do because this is still like pilot mode kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
For you guys, so there's things you have to do on your back end to make this work.
Yeah, mostly just getting the protocol set up in our system so that, getting the actual patients in now is pretty straightforward, and then there's the turning the set of criteria for the study into something that searches that database.
So basically, the way I explain this as a layman, your doctor, whoever your PI is, whatever private practice you're associated with, if you have a research arm associated with it, rather than logging into their EMRs like we've been doing for 2 years, there's no good search features in there. It's just you gotta get lucky. Really, is you gotta get lucky.
Right. Yeah.
This AI will mirror the data into our own portal that we have our own login, and then when we give you the protocol, and then you guys train the AI on how to find patients for our protocol.
Right.
And that's it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and then once we're in there, it's live, and so it's easy to keep adding protocols or doing things like as patients come in the door, certain studies, it's better if you can catch them right when they get the lab test back, right? And that's the kind of stuff that we can do now that we have the connection live. So yeah, we're in there.
Awesome.
Good to go.
What would happen if the connection doesn't it turns off for some reason? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened. I think these are still new programs, so the chance of something disconnecting or whatever is possible. But now that we've done it and we know how to make sure exactly where in the eClinicalWorks UI to do it, it's pretty easy for us to communicate that to you guys. I don't think there's going to be any issues, but you never know with these things. So
yeah, and there's other sites curious about this. How are you guys getting the word out if you're not really promoting it yet? You'll start hearing more about it here on my channel. As I start using it, I'll let you guys know how it works, the good, the bad, the ugly. But how have sites been approaching you? Just conferences?
Yeah, I mean, it's been very kind of handpicked, the way that we found our first sites to work with. Obviously we met you through the internet, and Ethan reached out, and that's how we found you. And working with a couple other sites that reached out to us and like what we were doing. A few of them we went to SERS in the fall. So very one by one in the beginning, and I think over the next 6 months or so, we'll probably start to ramp up how quickly we onboard sites and taking on new sites, and we'll start doing a little more messaging like this stuff to try and get the word out.
Okay. And then what are your thoughts so far on, like right now, this is still a hypothesis. Um, are any sites like actively using it yet, or?
Yeah,
Oh, they
we have a
are.
couple sites. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So you've seen it work already.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the feedback from them?
I think it's great. I think that the trick too, and one thing I'm excited about working with you guys on is, there's no patient's guaranteed to screen, right? Like when you see their medical record, they may have a lab test that's 3 months old, and they may have like
Yeah.
this condition that's like hard to tell whether they're going to be able to randomize for the study. And so I think the way it's going to work the best is where we can kind of like integrate with the CRCs and your team and like actually get them like doing searching. And
So you'll have like a support team. Hey, like a kind of like a site advocate.
yeah, exactly. And then like if we can give you that, and then your team goes, hey, can you maybe expand the search this area? Like we kind of want to be able to work with you guys on those things.
I like this, man. I like this. The more I hear you talk about SelectIQ, the more I'm like kind of optimistic that this could be something that sites would actually adopt.
Yeah.
I think having that, one of the tech vendors that does this really well is Inato.
Right.
So they're one of our sponsors, but they don't just leave you alone with the tech.
Right.
You know, they like you go in there, you fill out your survey to get a study. A lot of the stuff's pre-populated for you. The more you use it, the better it is, or the easier it is.
Right.
But they actually have a rep, like I don't know what they call them, but like a liaison.
Right.
From their end, that kind of walk you through what the sponsor's looking for. In their case, that's what they do. They match sponsors with sites.
Right.
But it sounds like that's something that you would probably build into SelectIQ also.
Yeah, 100%. We like, I think we were talking a little bit in the podcast we recorded the other day about what sort of like cultural elements that Ethan and I, coming from Palantir, like wanted to bring into the business. And I think for us, like being customer centric, like being there so that we can work through the problems together, and it's not like throwing software over the wall.
So
that's
Palantir
really
was customer, like they had like this kind of model too, like
it's huge.
customer focused.
Yeah, so at Palantir, there's these there's a job called forward deployed engineer, and a lot of people kind of didn't really know what that was for a long time. And some people kind of almost thought of Palantir as like more of a consulting company because there's so many people going and working directly with customers. But the reality is like that's part of how Palantir built such a great product, is like having people on the front lines working at customer offices like with them to try and build out the product, and not just kind of like building it in a vacuum, throwing it over and like trying to scale your margins as much as possible.
So they were very hands-on with that kind of stuff.
Super, yeah. So that, I mean, that's, you know, Ethan and I working.
So there's like the elements of Palantir that rubbed off on you guys.
Oh yeah, man. I mean,
in the right way. That's a big.
Between the two of us, we were there for like 12, 13 years. So.
I didn't realize is that 12, 13 years?
Yeah, like total between the two of us.
Oh, between the two. Okay.
Yeah, no, not each.
Because I was doing the math, man. That would have made you like 12.
No. We were not each there for 12.
That's child labor at Palantir. Go.
That's right. Put that on Twitter.
Breaking news, guys. But no, that's cool. So like a lot of the elements, big kudos to Palantir, like their culture. There's other companies where that kind of, you see like the disciples. I think it was Oracle, and then who basically like, you know, they kind of started like so many entrepreneurial journeys. Salesforce, I think, is another one.
Like the mafias.
Yeah, PayPal mafia. Like, so maybe there's some of that with Palantir too, from the tech / customer service combo.
Yeah, I think so.
Because when I think of tech, I think, okay, they're gonna leave you with the software and that's it. Like,
yeah, that's what I think of too when I think of most of the tech companies. And I think it's a tough thing to balance, right? Because you don't want to have to spend an inordinate amount of time and money on support, and so you have to figure out the right way to do that. But I think when that's done badly, you're wasting time, you're wasting money. Customers aren't happy with the support they're getting. But when it's done well, you use that support as a way to learn about what the right way to build a product is, right? And then you build the product so that it doesn't require as much help over time, right? And I think that's the way we're going to try and do it. Is in the beginning, it's like super hands-on, because we're going to learn like what is the right way to build a product and not just like throw it over the wall. But then over time, it'll fit what people are looking for better, and like you won't need us to be sitting there holding your hand all day, right?
Right, right. No, this is a really good trajectory, and you guys. So that would make sense because one of the things you said in our interview is site centric. Reduce site burden. Those were some of the themes that came up in our interview yesterday when we shot that one. Which I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I think that was really good. And then at SOS, maybe we'll do one with you and Ethan both.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
we'll have Daniel there and his whole team.
Yeah. SOS, baby.
That's cool, man. Congrats to you guys for wanting to do something like this and picking a niche that's so obscure that I would say gets ignored, but maybe that's not accurate anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting.
People discover this space?
Well, I mean, we discovered it through you, so you get a lot of credit for that.
It can't be everybody through me. Like, people are finding this industry.
There's probably a PE firm somewhere with your face on the wall.
I need to be involved if that's the case.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, when we talk to people all over, like, the research industry, like on the pharma side, on the biotech side, CROs, or just people like tangentially involved in research or even sites, like, it's still like a niche within a niche. Like, there are so many people in pharma that don't really understand anything about how the site business works because they're so removed from the actual day-to-day operations of the clinical trials, right? Like, most of the stuff, there's a clinical research manager that handles the CRO that handles the site.
Everything's so streamlined.
Yeah.
You could get to the point where you streamline the hell out of something and the efficiency actually becomes inefficient.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a business word for that, but that's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, there's a great book called High Output Management by Andy Grove, I think.
Okay.
And one of the things he talks about is kind of like metrics are obviously really important. Like, you should manage people to metrics, and what you measure and hold people to, like, that's the outcome that you're going to get. But the flip side is, like, people will only care about the numbers that you measure. And so one of the things he tries to, like, guard people against is don't, if you're going to have a metric, think about what the counterfactual, like, what are the negative outcomes of that metric, right? Like, if you say increase revenue, like top line revenue, are you going to lose out on customer retention because of that? And then build metrics that are the reverse of that, right? And I think that's kind of like similar to what you were just saying. Like, if you streamline everything in one way, like, there are negative things that if you're not measuring them, you're going to lose out on.
There's side effects of it all.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of afternoon Zooms, but are you down for like one more coffee?
Yeah, let's do it.
I could use a pig meal.
Yeah, I love that place.
After that carb crash with Olive Garden, we had to bribe the staff to like let us in their EMRs. It wasn't that. Turns out it wasn't actually that difficult. But we're being nice, man.
Yeah.
We can hook them up. Thanks to SelectIQ. So, all right, man. Looking forward to SOS. I know a lot of sites are going to be in the same situation as I'm in still. And we'll start playing around with it next week and start rolling out some content, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. But it's good to know that you already have sites using it and feedback's positive.
Yeah, we're live. So
is there any negative feedback at all so far?
No, not yet. I mean, I think the reality is, like, it's all based on what you can find in the database, right? And so the best feedback is the ones where we find the patients that are there, and if we don't find them, we don't find them, right?
That's the purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So hit us up at SOS if you're there.
Thank you very much, Jason. Everybody go connect with him. His LinkedIn is underneath, and connect with him at SOS. Bye-bye.